Keith Folk on the mound for the Red Sox. 3-0 Boston. Folk to the set. A 1-0 pitch. Here it is.
Back to Folk. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
For over 3 decades, Nick Cafardo's poignant words and reliable reporting produced vivid and definitive accounts of the baseball team that has defined New England sports culture for generations. After first covering the Red Sox for the Patriot-Ledger, Cafardo joined the Boston Globe in 1989. He chronicled the national pastime throughout his final 15 years with the paper before his passing in February 2019. Following in the Globe tradition originated by Peter Gammons, Cafardo's Sunday Baseball Notes column was required reading throughout the region. Boston Globe colleague and 2016 Bbwaa Career Excellence Award winner Dan Shaughnessy said of Cafardo, "He never wanted a day off. He came early and stayed late. Nick showed up every day without fanfare. He was part of the daily heartbeat of baseball." Cafardo also authored several baseball books, including 100 Things Red Sox Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die, If These Walls Could Talk, Stories from the Boston Red Sox Dugout, Locker Room, and Press Box with Jerry Remy, Inside Pitch, and None But the Braves, both with Hall of Famer Tom Glavine. He was a regular contributor to the New England Sports Network as well as MLB Network. His passion for the history of the game was never more evident than on his annual pilgrimage to Cooperstown. It's appropriate and well-deserved, then, that Nick was posthumously named 2020 Bbwaa Career Excellence Award winner. His contributions to the game and abiding love for it will be forever memorialized in Cooperstown.
On stage with me are Ben Cafardo, representing his late father, Nick, whose tireless reporting and discerning writing brought Red Sox baseball to millions of New Englanders and made him the winner of the 2020 Bbwaa Career Excellence Award. I would like to invite Trent Rosecrans, president of the Baseball Writers Association of America, who covers the Cincinnati Reds for The Athletic, to tell us more about Nick Cafardo and his illustrious career. I would also like to ask Ben Cafardo, Nick's son, who will accept the award on his behalf of his late father, to join Trent.
Nick Cafardo mastered baseball coverage in its purest form, with writing born from a devotion to and fever for the game. For fans of the Boston Red Sox, Cafardo became their link to Fenway Park and the players who called the ballpark home. Growing up in the Boston suburbs, Cafardo matriculated at Suffolk University in Boston before landing a job in the news department of the Enterprise of Brockton, Massachusetts. He followed his passion to the sports department of the Quincy Patriot-Ledger and landed at the Boston Globe in 1989. As the Globe's baseball columnist, Cafardo was a fixture at Red Sox games home and away, bringing game stories to life while simultaneously producing the paper's Sunday Notes column that had become a long-standing fan favorite. As print outlets turned to the new digital medium, Cafardo kept pace with boundless energy and drive, satisfying his audience's needs for all things baseball. The author of 4 baseball books, Cafardo covered the Red Sox history-making World Series run in 2004, remaining on the beat through 3 more team titles over the next 14 seasons. Known for the devoted relationships he developed with the players, executives, and behind-the-scenes personnel throughout the industry, Cafardo earned the trust of sources who helped him break news and deliver information and insight across Major League Baseball. A beat writer in the style of baseball's legendary scribes, dedicated to the game on the field, Cafardo authored a Boston narrative that informed and captivated generations of readers.
Good afternoon. It's my family's deepest honor to accept the 2020 Bbwaa Career Excellence Award on behalf of my late father, Nick Cafardo. On behalf of my mom, Leanne, and sister, Emily, we'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to the Baseball Writers Association of America, Jane Forbes Clark, and the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, as well as Dan Shaughnessy, Michael Silverman, Pete Abraham, and the entire Boston Writers chapter for their work to make today possible. Earning the respect of his colleagues and peers was paramount to Dad. And this recognition, the most significant that any baseball writer can receive, would be a tremendous source of pride for him. Thank you. Congratulations to all those being honored today. Knowing my dad, he would have thanked every baseball player, manager, coach, umpire, scout, agent, and executive that he had the privilege of covering across his 35-year career writing about baseball. Baseball, the greatest game, as he often said. Thank you to MLB Network, NESN, the Boston Red Sox, the rest of the 30 clubs, MLB, ESPN, to everyone for the outpouring of love and respect you've shown my dad and our family these last 2.5 years. To the readers of the Boston Globe, viewers of NESN and MLB Network, and to all the baseball fans around the country, particularly in New England, he was one of you, and he felt a deep sense of obligation to be there for you every day, breaking news, documenting events, and telling the story of the Boston Red Sox and the sport at large. Across nearly 4 full decades in journalism, he became a go-to voice in the Boston area for generations of baseball fans. People completely trusted what he wrote and said. This was a responsibility of utmost importance to him. When you read, watched, or listened to him, you could rest assured that 1, he'd be researched and ready, and 2, he'd serve the fan. Globe baseball colleague Pete Abraham once said he was a baseball writer straight out of Central Casting. He loved the romance of the game, the way it connected generations, and mirrored so many crucial periods in American history. He loved the ebb and the flow of a season and even the daily grind, but what he cherished most was developing relationships with people in and around the game. While, of course, today is bittersweet since this is his honor to accept, I can feel his presence here with us. Perhaps that's because of out of the countless trips he took each year covering the game, his favorite was his annual Cooperstown trip to cover Hall of Fame weekend. His close friends and terrific writers, Bob Nightingale, Scott Miller, Kevin Kernan, and late longtime scout Gary Hughes, stayed in a house up the street together for years. They were called the Cooperstown Crew. It was Dad's favorite weekend each year, and now how fitting that he's here forever. Since his passing, I've often been asked what made him successful for so long in an industry that is not always kind to longevity. To know that, you have to know his story. His story was about family and baseball. Family was in his heart, baseball was in his soul. He was raised in Hanson, Massachusetts, exactly 30 miles southeast of Fenway Park, by 2 hardworking Italian immigrants, his mom, Adelina, and dad, Nicola. They called him Nicky. They worked multiple jobs in factories and sewing shops so Nicky and his brother Fred could have essentials. It was in that environment during his upbringing where Dad developed his well-documented work ethic. As Red Sox manager Alex Cora endearingly noted when he passed, Dad used to ride him and other managers about player off days. He simply didn't believe in them. His parents didn't take off days, and neither did he. As a child, he listened to the Red Sox games on local radio in the 1960s, eating grilled cheese sandwiches and playing catch. He often waxed poetic about these youthful days and that 1967 impossible dream team of the Red Sox. It was those days that solidified his love of baseball. His parents didn't speak English fluently, and in turn, Dad didn't learn how to speak or write English fluently until middle school. Once he learned to write the language around 5th or 6th grade, he knew instantly he wanted to write about baseball. It's all he ever wanted to do. He was a classic ball writer. He cut his teeth in what used to be considered the old-fashioned way by elevating through the local newspaper ranks like the Brockton Enterprise and the Quincy Patriot-Ledger. He would routinely break stories to the point that it caught the attention of legendary Boston Globe sports editor Don Squar. In 1989, Don made his first hire as sports editor, my dad. He always felt a deep connection to Don, as well as the great Joe Sullivan, who would succeed Don as sports editor. He appreciated all of the editors, copy editors, among them current Globe editors Matt Pepin, Scott Thurston, Greg Lang, and Jim Hoban. He appreciated all of you, as well as the Globe's skilled IT personnel who saved his butt time and time again when he was on deadline. He wasn't the most technologically advanced. The Boston Globe, one of America's best sports pages ever. Actually, I can hear my dad now editing out the phrase "one of." The Globe has had a dream team of columnists, national writers, beat writers, and editors. It's nearly impossible to overstate the Globe's impact on New England and on the entire country. The local sports writer was a rock star, and the Globe boasted what would literally become a Hall of Fame squad. He took great pride in being part of the starting lineup, alongside names like Will McDonough, Dan Shaughnessy, Bob Ryan, Jackie McMullen, Peter Gammons, Lee Montville, Kevin Paul DuPont, and his friend and mentor, the late great pioneer Larry Whiteside. Perhaps apropos, Dad played a key role in helping ensure that Larry was on the ballot that ultimately led to his own posthumous recognition with the very same award. Dad was an Iron Man. As the saying goes, he was Sunday. Literally, he delivered his popular Sunday Notes column in the Globe every week for 15 consecutive years, never missing a week. He was laser focused on this column being valuable and took great pride in following some of the all-timers who penned the column before him. Through his career, he always kept an easy way about him, an easygoing way about him. Even at the height of the season's grind, on those long baseball nights, he could be found busting chops, debating the best Italian restaurants, or somehow just lightening the mood in the Fenway Park press box with his colleagues and press box staff members like Kevin Doyle. Despite the long days, West Coast road trips, and the toll that can take on your family, he was always there. His priorities were in order. He was appreciative of his wife, my beautiful mom, for running the show at home during all of those trips and for her unconditional love. And oftentimes, as we were growing up, my sister, who he had such a special connection to, and I were fortunate to attend these trips, traveling with my dad and mom all over the country and making countless family memories. My dad met my mom on a basketball court. She preferred Nick to Nicky. In perhaps the ultimate blunder of his life, he was so excited to propose to my mom that he couldn't wait for the scenic beach destination he had picked out and frantically pulled over in a parking lot to pop the question. Unbeknownst to him, it was a Burger King parking lot. Quite the story. As he went from Nicky to Nick and then to Dad, he settled into his career and thrived as both a father and a writer. In the 2.5 years since his passing, we've been so grateful to so many for the generosity of Johnny Miller, the support of Claire Smith, the friendship of Jeremy Capstein, and the Cooperstown crew. We are comforted that Stan Grossfeld, a longtime friend and renowned Globe journalist, was there by his side that fateful day in Fort Myers, along with Dan and Pete and my aunt and cousin and the Red Sox medical staff. Thank you. In later years, his pride and joy were his two beautiful grandchildren, Annabella and Noah, who affectionately called him Grand. I think every baseball writer in the country knows who you are because he showed off pictures of you both constantly. There was no sweeter joy in his life than the two of you, and you both have a good luck charm in heaven. He authored 5 books, covered 30 World Series, 10 Super Bowls, world-class boxing fights, won awards, but none of that was crucial. He lived by the credence, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. For him, it all came back to family and baseball. When one of his mentors, the late great Will McDonough, passed away, he wrote in his Globe obituary the following passage: "When you wander through the visages of your life, there are people you will always remember. Those who were kind to you, those who said something or passed along some wisdom that will stay with you forever. Those who always had your best interest at heart." He believed this deeply about Will, just like we all believed it about Dad. Congratulations, Dad. You did it, and you did it the right way. Thank you.